Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now, and thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there, and it is time for the Divisional Round Preview Show. Will this be the last preview show of the season for the 49ers, or can they keep this impossible run going? We'll find out on today's episode when I dive into all the matchups, and break down 49ers Seahawks round number 3. And this one means the most. Of course, stick around until later in the show because after we check out this game, we've got the return of the comments section. So please, before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below. I really appreciate the support, so go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment. Once again, huge shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video, and let's get into it. I want to start where we often do on this channel with the injury report. And of course, the major story this entire week, Fred Warner. Unfortunately, Fred Warner will not be activated on Saturday, and he has been ruled out for this game against the Seattle Seahawks. Kyle Shanahan went up in his press conference and said that he feels pretty good about Warner's availability for next week if the 49ers are able to get there. Just 1 week away, one game away, one win away. This could be an all-time 49ers great moment if Warner is able to return for a Super Bowl run, or it could be an all-time great 49ers what if. What if Fred Warner's injury took one less week to recover from, right? He's already made insane, superhuman progress to return from this ankle injury. So if he comes up truly 1 week short and the Niners season ends on Saturday, that would be all sorts of devastating for not only Warner, but I'm sure the 49ers as a whole. Jair Brown also ruled out of this game. He was dealing with a hamstring injury. He got hurt against Philadelphia, which of course allowed Marquise Siegel to step into the starting role. And I, on this channel, said multiple times that I thought Siegel was fantastic, and I wanted to see him play whether Jair was healthy or not. Turns out he's not healthy, so we will see more of number 36, Marquise Siegel, in the back end. Hopefully a good thing. Didn't miss a single tackle against the Eagles, and I'm hoping he can bring that to this Seahawks game as well. Because Week 18, last time these teams played each other, 18 missed tackles for San Francisco's defense. Not good at all, and hopefully Siegel will help with that. Questionable, we've got 3 guys here, Ricky Pearsall, D. Winters, and Luke Gifford. Pearsall has mentioned that he's probably going to play. Seems like Kyle Shanahan's a little bit unsure, a little bit cautious, and I would get why you would want to be, right? This PCL injury that Ricky's been dealing with, it's nagging, right? This is not something that goes away easily, but I'm happy that Pearsall at least feels like he's in a good place. He was saying he feels a lot better than last week in the wild card round, so hopefully Pearsall is able to go. That would be huge. Linebacker, though, was a massive question mark. Who's going to start? Who's going to start at linebacker? I'm assuming Eric Kendricks will take the Mike spot. That feels like kind of a lock to me, but at will, D. Winters has been playing there most of the season, but Garrett Wallow looked pretty darn good against Philadelphia. Do you kind of rock the boat? Do you take out the hot hand in Garrett Wallow and put D. Winters into the game? Do we see Kaiser White elevated? Who knows? If D. Winters can play, I think he probably will start over Garrett Wallow. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know. But I do think it's what will happen if he's able to play. And if Luke Gifford is able to go, I think we don't see Kaiser White elevated. Really the only way I think White will be elevated is if Gifford is out, or Winters. Gifford or Winters, I suppose. If one of those guys is out, then I think we could see Kaiser White elevated. But, there's only one way to find out. We'll probably find out on game day, honestly. I'm not sure what their plan is. I think because it's a Saturday game, they are allowed to make the elevations and the roster moves and things like that. They're allowed to do those things day of. So, keep an eye out today, Friday, of course, but I think most of the stuff will happen on Saturday. Speaking of Saturday, let's now get into the game day checklist. Of course, you guys know the drill. I've done plenty of these on the show over the course of the season. These are the 3 things that I think the 49ers absolutely must do in order to beat the Seattle Seahawks. It was kind of funny making this list and putting it together compared to just 2 weeks ago when I did the exact same thing for the exact same team. But I think the lists have changed a little bit. I've certainly tweaked my approach, and I would hope that the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan have tweaked their approach because their approach in Week 18 did not work. So hoping to see some new stuff, including the first item on my game day checklist, take the ball away on defense. Sam Darnold leads the NFL in turnovers. It's still true. And we might not get away with just trying to hold on fourth downs like we did against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Niners are going to need the ball to bounce our way in this game, not just on offense, but on defense as well. And it did a couple times in Week 18, right? When the ball is in your hands, I just ask that you hold on to it. We saw Renardo Green get not one, but two hands on an interception. He caught the ball, but didn't get 2 feet down in bounds. And then, of course, Yetur Gross-Matos lands right on top of a fumble, squeaks out from underneath him. Two brutal chances that would have certainly changed this game for the better for the 49ers. So if those chances happen for the 49ers, if plays like that are there to be made, the 49ers absolutely need to make them. If the 49ers go a whole game without forcing a turnover, I don't know that they win. I don't know that they beat Seattle. I think they will need at least one turnover in order to beat Seattle. Number 2 now, you got to dominate the trenches. This is something that Seattle did very well in Week 18. The Niners got whooped on the offensive and defensive line in Week 18. Can't happen again. I thought they held up all right against the Eagles units in the wild card round. Certainly not perfect, but did okay. They shut down. You got to shut down the run game if you're the 49ers. Seahawks were able to run all over the Niners last time they played. Got to shut that down. That cannot happen again. And you've got to pressure Darnold. I'm not asking for sacks, right? I know that's kind of a futile ask, right? There's no point in saying, oh, you got to sack Sam Darnold. We all know they're not going to. They don't sack anybody. This Niners defense doesn't sack anybody. But just pressure him. Get him into some of these, weird tight window throws. Make him do something risky, right? Get him second guessing himself. And then on the flip side of the ball, you got to give Brock Purdy a little bit of room to operate. Get CMC in rhythm if you can. I'm not asking for 5 yards a carry, but can we at least get 4? Can we get more than like 2.9 or whatever it was last time these two teams played? It all starts in the trenches. Defensive line needs to make an impact on this game. Offensive line needs to make an impact on this game. Just look at how the Seahawks did it in Week 18. That's exactly what the 49ers are trying to do. Now they're trying to do so with significantly less talent on the defensive line at least, but that's what coaches are for. Get out there and make it happen. And then the last item on my game day checklist, you got to dominate third downs. This has been the identity of the 49ers in the back half of the season. They are the best third down offense in the NFL, and they're an above average third down defense with a big resume of key stops. This is another area where Seattle destroyed them in Week 18. I don't have the exact numbers, but I can tell you they weren't pretty for the 49ers on either side of the ball. On the offensive side, Ricky Pearsall potentially returning and Trent Williams being a full participant, that'll help. That'll help for the offense, right? Defense, though, needs to step up. That 3rd and 17 run that Kenneth Walker converted, that haunts me still. I know it was only 2 weeks ago, but it haunts me to this day, right? The defense absolutely needs to make more key plays on third down. We saw them do this against Philadelphia. We got to see them continue to do it against a better offense in Seattle. So that's your game day checklist. You got to take the ball away on defense. You've got to dominate the trenches on both sides and dominate third downs on both sides. Those are my, key items to the game. Let me know down below if you think there's anything I forgot about. And before we get into the 3 key matchups, we've got a quick word from our sponsor here. Football playoffs are here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get them right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking, of course, at the Niners-Seahawks divisional round matchup, and I'm picking Jackson Smith-Njigba for higher than 91.5 receiving yards and Brock Purdy for higher than 0.5 interceptions. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code FOOTBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FOOTBALLFAN. Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
All right, everyone. Special thanks to our sponsor, Underdog there. We are back now with the 3 key matchup segment. And these are one-on-one matchups that I think are really going to define this game. In the first one, I've got 2 rookies going at it. CJ West for the 49ers at defensive tackle against the Seahawks' first-round pick, left guard Gray Zabel. I thought CJ West showed some really good flashes against Philly. This guy's going to be awesome as a run stopper next year and going forward, honestly. But I think he's going to be really key in this game going against Gray Zabel. Zabel is a freak. This guy is a monster run blocker, and it's going to be good on good, right? CJ West, he's a run defender. Gray Zabel, he's a run blocker. Neither of them are fantastic in the passing game, but the run game is where these guys make their money. So it is going to be fantastic, and it is going to be fascinating to watch these two go at it on those running downs, which, of course, we talked about. That rushing offense for Seattle, it's going to be an important X factor in this game. If they can get it going once again, I have a hard time seeing the 49ers take the win in this one. So a lot of pressure there for CJ West. Now matchup number 2, it's got less to do with the run game and more to do with the passing game. I'm going with Ricky Pearsall versus Riq Woolen. This matchup defined week 1, and it kind of defined week 18 too. If you look back at week 1, Pearsall was absolutely key to this offense. He was such a linchpin that kind of held it all together. He was stretching the field. He was open all the time. He was terrorizing Riq Woolen downfield. And his absence was really felt in week 18 with the Niners offense struggling, to even get a first down. They were having a hard time, right? So Pearsall is going to need to do what Demarcus Robinson did last week and open up this offense. Give Purdy and McCaffrey room underneath to operate. Hit those chunk plays. Get this pass game moving. Get a little bit of rhythm to the offense. It's going to be on Ricky Pearsall in this one, and he's going up against Riq Woolen, his old foe. Now I got one more matchup I'm highlighting, and this one's pretty fun because we got a fullback sighting. Kyle Juszczyk versus Drake Thomas. That is my final matchup to watch here. Kind of a twofold matchup, right? Drake Thomas at linebacker for Seattle has been kind of a surprising breakout star. And Juszczyk is going to need to shut him down in the run game and open up these running lanes for Christian McCaffrey, like he always does, right? And we talked about how this run game is important for both teams, right? So Juszczyk's a big part of that. He's got to be able to open up these running lanes, especially with no George Kittle. And also without Kittle, Juice is likely going to be a focal point of the pass game once again. He caught 4 balls, nearly 50 yards last week. The Niners are going to need him to be involved once again, and I could see him matching up against Drake Thomas certainly more than once in this game. So those are the 3 key matchups I've identified here. CJ West versus Gray Zabel, Ricky Pearsall versus Riq Woolen, and Kyle Juszczyk versus Drake Thomas. Let me know down below who you think wins those matchups. And speaking of the comments section, it is now time for my favorite segment, the comments section. If you'd like to be featured in the comments section, all you got to do is leave a comment. The more comments you leave, the more likely you are to be featured. I read every single comment, even the ones that are not featured. But, thanks to everyone who comments, and a special thanks to the 3 comments that I've featured in this episode. First one here from Jay Keys, short and sweet. Jay Keys says, Fred Warner is Superman. And you know what? You might just be right. But even Superman needs to be careful because he's obviously not playing in this one. But man, if the 49ers could just win one more game, I'm telling you, this could be an all-time historic NFL storyline. I really hope we see it happen. Next comment now from B19. Play Garrett Wallow. That dude is a diamond in the rough. I kind of agree. Niners are kind of playing with house money in this game. Heavy underdogs, over a touchdown underdogs in this game. I believe the line is like 7.5 points. They're going into Seattle. They got to kind of throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks. And I think one of the things they throw at the wall might just have to be Garrett Wallow. Do you ride the hot hand or do you go back to your starter all year in D. Winters? We'll see what the 49ers do on Saturday. The Seahawks offense, though, no matter who's playing Will linebacker, the Seahawks offense is going to put him in way more conflict than the Eagles offense did. It's a lot more complex, should be a massive challenge. But if it is Wallow, he just saw this team 2 weeks ago, and they kind of torched him, to be fair. But he's got a lot more prep time now, and I think we could see certainly a better game from Garrett Wallow in this game. And I hope he gets the chance to keep playing well and keep balling out. Because if we see 2 good playoff games from Garrett freaking Wallow, of all people, you better believe he's going to be on this 90-man roster next year. Now, one more comment from Dino. I agree with almost all those top 10 games for this year, Brady. Great job. Very appreciative of what you bring to us. And to that, I say thank you, Dino. If you don't know what Dino's talking about, go ahead and check out my video from earlier in this week when I went over the top 10 games of the regular season. Now, back to Dino's comment. Niners will be more competitive this Saturday due to 1, new and upgraded personnel. Trent, Ricky, Siegel, Kendricks, Wallow, and Alfred Collins CJ West duo will play more in this game. 2, motivated Jennings, Bourne, Stout, Lenore, Sky Moore, Juice, Farrell, and especially Purdy and CMC. 3, Fred Warner, even just his presence on the field. And by the way, Fred Warner is making the trip to Seattle, even though he's not expected to play. And then 4, Kyle Shanahan will scheme and plan a more effective game this time. 5, we play as underdogs and with house money. Remember, the target is 2026 with 2027 Super Bowl, when our defense will be and have to be better than Texans and Seahawks defense. Dino, you're an optimist, and I can really appreciate that. I sure hope you are correct, because that is a very optimistic way to look at it, right? A motivated Luke Farrell, who knows what that'll give us, right? But I do think you're right that, the personnel is probably a little bit upgraded. Vibes are a little bit higher now that Fred Warner is out there practicing. And Trent Williams is playing, and Ricky Pearsall might play. These are big additions. And separately, you can't rule anything out with this 49ers team, right? They could lose 35-0, or they could win in an overtime thriller. I mean, I could see genuinely any outcome to this game. But I do agree with you, Dino. This year, it's kind of house money. No guarantees, of course, that next year's team is going to be as good as this one. But this has been the plan all along. 49ers have been very clear. This is a reset year. This is the year they were going to clean up the books and get younger and try and build a new core. And look at where they are. They made it to the divisional round of the playoffs, despite one of the worst injury seasons in the entire league. It does feel like this squad is a year early, but man, when you're in the playoffs, you really got to capitalize on those moments. So that is all for today's episode. Do you think the 49ers pull off the upset this weekend, or will the Seahawks knock off their rivals and move on? Make your predictions in the comments down below. As for my prediction, I was wrong last week, and I hope I'm wrong again. The 49ers will need to play a perfect game in order to win this week. And I don't think they have a perfect game left in them. The Niners, what they can do is win ugly, and that worked against Philadelphia, but I think the talent disparity, it's just too big to force Seattle into an ugly game. I've been picking against the Niners so often this season, and I know that that's frustrating, but I have to go with my gut, right? I'm picking Seattle in their building 20-13. I think it'll be low scoring, just like the last 2 games these 2 teams played. And I think this is it. I think this is the final 49ers game of the season. And if I'm right, then what a season it was, and what a way to go out. I'm so proud of this 49ers team, no matter what happens on Saturday. Let me know down below what you think about my predictions. And of course, let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you next week.